सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चैतन्यं सर्वगं सर्वं सर्वभूतगुहाशयम् यत्सर्वविषयातीतं तस्मै सर्वविदे नमः। So in the third chapter, which is called the Ishvaratma Prakarana, which we already saw, the author establishes that Upanishad seeks to teach us Brahman as the very self, the word Ishvara is used, which Jagat Karanatra Upalakshitaha. Ishvara means Jagat Karanam. It's called ruler or the cause of the creation, Nimitta Karanam, Upadana Karanam. But what is the intended meaning of the word Ishvara is Brahman, Paramatma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And Upanishads seek to teach Brahman, which is ultimate reality, as the very self. The first verse said, what is the tatparya of the Upanishad teaching? That both kinds of vakyas are found, Dvas, Uparana, Savija, Sakhaya, which seem to indicate that Ishvara and Jiva are different. And Tattvamasi, which clearly says that the Jiva is Brahman. Tatparya has to be in non-duality, not in duality. The conclusion was that the Vakyas which seem to describe the duality are only Anuvada, meaning that we seem to have the experience of duality which is just reiterated here to say that that experience is properly understood. Then it only reveals the non-duality. So, Kalped Bhed Anuvada Paratvat. All Vakyas which seem to describe the duality of Jiva and Ishvara are only Anuvada of Kalpita Bheda. The Bheda or the duality division that we have imagined, just reiteration of that. The important thing is that Upanishads teach Brahman in the process of negation. By neti neti, of which one example is asthulam, ananu, akhasvam. where all the dharma, the attributes of sthulatva, anutva, etc. are negated from Brahman. And this negation ultimately culminates into something which cannot be negated. Important is that. There is an avadhi of this negation. Avyaktat purushah parah sa kashtha sa paragati. That beyond avyakta there is purusha which is parakashta paragati. Nayanam chinnanti shastrani nayanam dhadi pavagah न चैनम क्लेरियन्त्यापः न शोषयति अच्छेद्योयम दाह्योयम. Atma cannot be burned, cannot be dried, etc. The unburned, unburnable he is, undriable he is. So while negating the imagined, the superimposed dharmas, it leads us to that which is tattva, anaropitam tattvam. All along there is negation of what is aropitam, what is superimposed. Mithyadyas nishedartham tata sthulattvadi gurhyatam. So asthulam, ananu, all of this is for mithya adhyasa nishedartham. Because sthulatva, anutva has already been superimposed upon the Atma, which is where superimposition takes place. And that being superimposition, because of which I am entertaining false notions about myself. Therefore, the false notions are negated. Paratrachan nishedartham sunyatavarnam hitat. If this negation was meant to be of someone other than Atma, meaning if Brahman were different from Atma, and these attributes of Brahman are negated. If Brahman was accepted or was thought to be different from Atma, which all the attributes are negated, then anything other than Atma is achetanam, is jadam, is sthulam, sukshmam. So in negating all these attributes, ultimately you are negating the whole anatma. That is what is negated here. So asthulam, ananu, sthulatva, anutva, all of these belong to anatma, to achetanam. So anatma is negated. If Brahman is anatma, then Brahman will be negated. Living shunyam. That being the case, then it would be the teaching of shunyam, which would make no sense at all. Tasma asthulattvadi dharmakasya anatvatva ayogat. Therefore, asthulam, anano, akhrasvam, that Brahman cannot be anatma, because in that case it would turn out to be shunyam. Ishvaram abhyugastam, it's the Atma eva. So those who accept Ishvara, they will accept Ishvara only as Atma. Also, elsewhere also there is another negation. Aprana hyamana shubhraha. He is without prana, without mana. So pranatvam or pranamatvam. Prana being possessed of prana. So manomatvam being possessed of the mind, that is being negated in Brahman. Now, pranamatvam being possessed of prana, being possessed of mind, is only possible for a conscious entity. Unconscious things such as tables and chairs don't have prana, don't have mana. And therefore, if you are negating pranavatvam from mana, manomatvam from Brahman, And at the same time you think that Brahman is anatma, achetanam, then achetan doesn't possess prana, doesn't have prana, doesn't have mana, because achetan cannot have. Then it would serve no purpose. To negate prana from that which doesn't have prana, to negate mana from that which doesn't have mana would serve no purpose. Aprano hyamana shubhraha. There is no entity which is sapranaha, samanaha. If this is negation about anatma, then there is no anatma who is sapranaha, samanaha. So you are negating something which doesn't exist, which has no occasion to negate. Aprasakta pratishedaha, in which case you are negating something which has no scope for negation. Therefore also, this must be a conscious entity. And only self is conscious entity. So these are different reasons presented. That the manner in which Upanishad is communicating Brahman is all along by the process of negation. Even where you think it is assertion, and just because this comes down, that's all, nothing else. So, even where Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam looks like Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, in each case, ultimately it is negation of the opposite. Anityatva, Shuddhatva, Buddhatva, Satyatva is negated. Because there is no need to assert. The point is, there is no need to assert the truth. Because truth, being the self, its existence is already established because nobody ever knows things that I am not. Nobody ever thinks that I am unconscious. The self is shining, is existing, self-conscious, self-sufficient. Unfortunately about the self, the insufficiency is thought. The unconsciousness is thought. The unexistence is thought. That I did not exist before a certain point. I will not exist after a certain point. I am ignorant. I am dukkhi. So there is no need to teach you what you are because you are already experiencing what you are. Truth is always self-revealing, self-existent, self-evident. So Upanishad doesn't have to make it evident. But for the truth, various notions are entertained. That is called ignorance. And those notions are a problem in our life. Therefore, all that the Upanishad needs to do is to negate the imaginary attributes, the superimposed attributes. What can be negated? The very style of teaching Upanishad reveals that Upanishad's teaching Brahman is the very self. Doesn't have to assert. We already are. I already know I am. I am conscious. It's a definite known to me. Ahamasmi, sadavami, kadachinnaham apriya. It's very evident to me that I always shine, I never dislike myself. Therefore, Brahmayavamata siddham satchidananda lakshanam. So, Asti Bhadi Priya is very clear that I am, and that is Brahman. Anything other than that which I think is a superimposition, and that has to be negated. Now, continuing with the 4th chapter. Nanu yadidam Ishwaratma Ishwar abhedena atmano jnanam moksha sadhana muktam. Yadidam jnanam, this knowledge. What knowledge? Ishwar abhedena atmana jnanam. Atmana Jnanam, this Atma Jnanam, the self-knowledge, which we have, but Ishvara Abhedena Atmana Jnanam. This is not the knowledge of self which is the moksha sadhana, because self-knowledge everybody has. And right now that very self-knowledge is cause of bondage. So self-knowledge which is cause of bondage itself has to become the cause of moksha. The self when it is known as separate from Ishvara, then that knowledge is a cause of bondage, means sorrow. And when that self is known as identical to Ishvara, that is the cause of moksha. That's what you are saying. That's what Upanishad is saying. By revealing Brahman as the very self, it says that knowing Brahman as the self is the cause of moksha. Fine. Tanna upapadyate, that is not tenable, not logical. So first of all, they said that this knowledge cannot be because self is not Brahman. It is established that Upanishad is teaching Brahman is the very self, so you can't say that self is not Brahman. And Upanishad's only purpose is to enable you to see yourself as Brahman, which is Nitya Praptam. Moksha is Nitya Prapta, and therefore the knowledge can enable you to so-called achieve moksha. So, all right, except tanna upapadyate, that's not tenable. Why? Sanchita anekarma sadbhavat karmanam cha phala avashyam bhavaniyamat. Now comes karma. Is a pratibandhaka. Karma is pratibandhaka, an obstacle to moksha. Karmanam cha phala avashyam bhavaniyamat. His niyama, the rule is that karma must necessarily give rise to phalam. And therefore, a karma will not get exhausted without giving rise to phala. Avasyam bhoktavyam. That karmana phalam must be experienced. Kalpa koti shatairapi, for crores of kalpas also, the karma phala will not get destroyed without giving its result. So now how does karma get destroyed? This is the idea here. That's the discussion. The usual understanding karma is the karanam and karma phala is the karyam, effect. The cause must necessarily give rise to effect. And the law of karma says that we have been performing karma from the time beginningless. And therefore the cycle of birth and death. So countless karma called sanchita karma or accumulated actions are stored in your account. So sanchita aneka karma sadbhavat. Variety of kinds of actions are stored, good, bad, indifferent, all kinds of actions. And karmanam cha phalavasyam bhavaniyamat. Now the rule is that karma must necessarily give rise to phalam, as a result. Taihi pratibandha sambhavat. So this karma will not allow, even though jnana we accept as moksha sadhana. But jnana also will not be successful in giving rise to moksha as long as the binding karmas are there, as long as sanchita, the countless karmas are there, which will give rise to a result of sukha dukkha, which you would experience for infinite time. Therefore, taihi pratibandha sambhavat mokshasya. That moksha is obstructed by this karma. Or possibility is that this sanchita karma could very well present an obstacle to moksha, liberation, because it will force you to experience the result, and the result is experienced naturally through this body, and it gives rise to a series of other bodies. So there will be next birth. As long as karmas are there, so long there is moksha. Tatra. Now, so this is the chapter that discusses the karma. And what's the status of karma as far as moksha is concerned? They are all important topics of Vedanta. So now we go to the verse number 1. Aham pratyaya bijam yat aham pratyaya vachsthitam naham pratyaya vanyushtam katham karma prarohati. Aham pratyaya bijam. Bijam means a cause. Aham pratyaya bijam. This is a description of karma. The kartru here is karma. Katham karma prarohati. It is all talking about karma. What is karma? Aham pratyaya bijam. Aham pratyaya is a bijam of karma. Aham pratyaya is ahankara. All karma is caused by ahankara, means kartrutva buddhi. Ahankara means the notion of individuality arising from identification of upadhi. And upadhi is where the karma kartrutva is there, bhoktrutva is there. So aham pratyaya means ahankara, which means the notion of kartrutva, and therefore bhoktrutva. That sense of kartrutva is the cause of all karma. So he said aham pratyaya. Aham pratyaya means the notion of aham. Pratyaya means notion or idea. No, idea of aham. There is shabda and there is pratyaya. Word and the idea that the word generates. You follow? Nama, the word is ghata, and it generates an idea called ghata. So ghata, shabda and pratyaya. So aham is shabda. Aham, I, which I know myself to be, and generates patraya, pratyaya, an idea of I, which is ahankara, kartrutva, aham karta. Where is this ahankara located? Aham pratyaya vasthitam. Ahankara is located in antahkaranam. Is in fact antahkarana vritti only. So ahankara is aham pratyaya vat sthitam. Aham pratyaya vati sthitam actually. The cause of karma, which is ahankara, is in antahkaranam. So antahkarana also can be called the cause of karma. Ahankara also can be called the cause of karma. Because antahkarana possesses ahankara, and therefore ahankara cannot be unless antahkarana is. Because ahankara is vritti of antahkarana, so antahkarana can be called the cause of karma. Or aham vritti, ahankara can be called the cause of karma. So this is, we should understand. Where does karma originate from? That karma also is a cause, as a reason. Karma is an origination. Karma does give rise to karma phala, no doubt about that. So karma, as long as it is there, it will give rise to karma phala, we accept. What's the origin of karma? Karma also is origin. And if you destroy that origin, naham pratyaya vanyushtam. So naham, I am not karta, I am not bhokta. So that is a pratyaya. First is aham karta, that's a pratyaya. that pratyaya is eliminated by naham karta. So this is the nature of that is the knowledge of true nature of the self, akartaham, abhoktaham. So this knowledge, akartaham, destroys this notion, kartaham, because it's completely opposed. Kartrutvam and akartrutvam cannot coexist. So where right now aham pratyaya is there, karta aham pratyaya is there. That is where akarta aham pratyaya takes place. That's called knowledge. Then karta aham cannot anymore exist. And that is the cause of karma. So you are right that karma will give rise to a result. Provided karma is there in the first place. Karma is there only as long as kartrutva is there. But there is this knowledge, akartaham, that removes it, that destroys or burns the kartrutva. Ushta means burnt. That karma that is burned, karma katham prarohate. So that's why the word bijam is used. Bijam means seed. So even if the fire of knowledge does not burn the karma, it is like roasting the seed. Even if seed is not burned, it is there. But when the seed is roasted by a fire, then seed cannot germinate. So now here is the situation where the seed is there and still does not germinate. Because the rule is that seed must germinate. That is called seed. When it finds appropriate conditions, will germinate. So karma is like seed, will germinate into karma phala. So the Vedantins say that even seed also will not, seed looks intact, but that will not germinate when it is roasted in the fire. So karma also is like seed, which will remain sarupataya. Seed remains, in appearance, in form. But the seedness is gone. The capacity to germinate is gone. So karma need not be burnt. But the capacity of karma to germinate into giving rise to phala is burnt by a fire of knowledge. Katham karma, this is easier to understand. Tika will make it very complicated, but then katham karma prahorohati. The karma which is like a seed, which is roasted in the fire of knowledge. Therefore, the very cause of karma is destroyed. Seed is not the cause of sprout, it is the germinating capacity of seed that is cause of sprout. Understand? The germinating capacity of seed is the cause of sprout. So when you destroy that capacity, even when the seed is there, there will be no germination, no sprout. So it is not karma that is the cause of the karma phala. It is the germinating capacity of karma that is the cause of karma phala. So if that germinating capacity is destroyed, then even if karma is there, swarupataya, in the form, is no more is effective in terms of giving rise to phala or bondage. So capacity of karma to create bondage is destroyed by knowledge. Even if karma itself is not destroyed, because karma cannot destroy, will not be destroyed. But then its capacity to give rise to phala can be destroyed like that of a seed. So karma is compared to bijam, seed. As you said, is not just seed. Yes, you require a seed, all right, for the sprout. But not just a seed. The seed possessed of the germinating capacity is what we require for generating this, creating a sprout. And same seed, when the germinating capacity is destroyed by roasting it, will not be able to create the sprout. And so also, not just karma, But karma with the capacity of germinating will only bring about the sprout of karma. Phala is like sprout. So karma can remain, but its germinating capacity can be destroyed by the fire of knowledge. So that karma, prarohati, how can it sprout in the form of karma phala? This is the verse. But the language used is so, it can be said in a simple way. But this is the nature of this text. Every simple thing is said in a very complicated way. Basically, principles are not very complicated. But you can put it in any way. I know that there is a way. The reason why it is said, because it gives you the insight and the subtlety of the Vedanta principles. Anyways, aham pratyabijam yad aham pratyavasthidam. Aham pratyabijam, different kinds of samasas are there. Ahamiti pratyaya, aham pratyaya. Means ahankara. Pratyaya means the notion or the idea. Aham pratyaya, the idea of aham. It's called ahankara. Sense of individuality. How did it arise? Anatmani atma abhimana lakshana. How does ahankara arise? Anatmani atma abhimana lakshana. Anatma, the body, sense, mind complex. In that atma abhimanam, the notion of self or identification anatma, taking anatma to be atma is what gives rise to the ahankara. Sah bijam. So aham pratyaya bijam. Yasya tat aham pratyaya bijam. It's a bahuvri samasa. This is the qualification of karma. Aham pratyaya bijam karma. Okay? So what is aham pratyaya? Aham pratyaya bijam yasya tat aham pratyaya bijam. So aham pratyaya means ahankara. So ahankara bijam karanam yasya karmana tat karma aham pratyaya bijam. Aham pratyaya, the notion of I, notion of individuality called ahankara, which means kartrutva, understand. Is a bijam is the cause of karma. The kartrutva is the cause of karma. The specific form of ahankara. This kartrutva, the doership, is in buddhi, anatma. And because of identification anatma, person thinks that I am karta. The notion of kartrutva is the cause of karma. Second, aham pratyaya vasthidam. So that is also the adjective of karma. Aham pratyaya pratiyate atma yasmin tad antahkarana aham pratyaya. Ahamiti pratiyate yasmin tad aham pratyayam. So aham pratyaya is a different thing, First aham pratyaya is ahamiti pratyaya. Here pratiyate iti pratyaya. So aham iti pratiyate atma. The atma shines as I in what? There is antahkaranam. Tad aham pratyavat. So aham pratyavat is the description of antahkaranam. Because aham pratyavat possessed of aham pratyaya. What possesses aham pratyaya? The antahkaranam possesses aham pratyaya because aham is a antahkarana vritti. Aham vritti. So antahkaranam is that which possesses aham vritti. So aham pratyavati sthitam. This ahankara is located in the antahkaranam. So sthitam where? So that karma which has its seed of the cause in ahankara is aham pratyavati, meaning antahkarane sthitam. The aham pratyavati can be ahankara also or antahkarana also, which is where the karma is. So karma is in ahankara or karma is in antahkarana. Yat karma jatam. So that karma or karma jatam, the host of karma. So sanchita karma, agami karma, prarabdha karma, all of this is called karma. In this verse, karma is not specified. Karma is karma of any kind. Karma has its source in kartrutva buddhi ahankara, which is located in antahkaranam. So all that karma, which is qualified in this manner, what is it? Aham pratyaya bijam and aham pratyaya vassitam yat karma. Tat. Second line is naham pratyaya vanyustam. No aham, that pratyaya, that cognition that I am not karta. So that cognition, knowledge is a fire which roasts the seed of karma. So naham means what? Naham karta bhokta kintu brahmevaham asmiti yah pramana janitah pratyaksha pratyaya. So that was naham pratyaya. So what the second line says? Naham pratyaya. Pratyaya again means what? Cognition, knowledge. Naham is the cognition. What naham? Naham karta. So naham karta, naham bhokta. Why did it say that way? Because so far I thought aham karta, aham bhokta. So very same aham that is thought to be karta bhokta has to be recognized as akarta abhokta. So that is why it is said this way. Aham pratyaya, which was the seed of karma, the kartrutva, that very karta has to be recognized as naham karta, naham bhokta, by recognizing that the kartrutva, bhoktrutva are superimposition of anatma. Kartrutva, bhoktrutva that belong to upadhi, to anatma, are superimposed to anatma, and I am falsely entertaining the notion of myself that I am karta, I am bhokta. I see myself akarta, bhokta. How do I see that? Pramana janitam. So when you are told you are Brahman, or all the negation, the kartrutva, bhoktrutva, all of this negated in Atma. So that pramana means the Upanishad Vakya. And by that the negation takes place, so kartrutva, bhoktrutva, negation of that takes place in Aham. Pramana pratyaya se vannihi. That pratyaya you can call it knowledge. That knowledge is the fire. Then ushtam, dagdham. So this seed of karma is burnt or roasted by the fire of knowledge. Katham punah prarohate. Now that karma, you write that karma is there. All sanchita karma, all of them are there. But the rule is that the karma must necessarily give rise to karma phala. That is not so. When that karma is like a seed roasted in the fire of knowledge, it no more gives rise to karma phala, which is like a sprout. Katham punah prarohati phalonmukham jayata. Meaning karma is made ineffective as far as its capacity to produce a result is concerned. So karma can be there and still result cannot be there. Seed can be there and still sprout may not be there. There is no rule that seed has to give rise to sprout. The seed possessed of germinating capacity alone can give rise to sprout. So also the karma possessed of the germinating capacity alone can give rise to karma phala. And that germinating capacity is kartaham, bhoktaham, which is burned by the fire of knowledge, akartaham, abhoktaham. Tatha cha shruti smriti. So shruti says, kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin dushte paravare. Tasmin paravare dushte. That para is a karta. Avara is karta. You can put it this way. Para is Ishvara or Brahman, Avara is Jiva, the identity. That Avara or Karta is in fact Akarta, Bhokta. When that is seen, then Kshiyante, Chasya Karmani, all the karmas are exhausted, meaning that they become ineffective to produce the result. There is Shruti, Mundaka Upanishad. Jnanagni, Sarvakarmani, Bhasmasat, Kurute Tatha. Where does that come from? Which chapter? Fourth chapter. Which verse? ડાપણ બહુ વધી ગયું છે ને બધા. So, જ્ઞાનાગ્નિ કર્માણि સર્વકર્માણि. So, that is સર્વકર્માણि જ્ઞાનાગ્નિ ક્ષીયન્તે ચ અસ્ય કર્માણि. Mundaka also does not specify which karma. And Bhagavad Gita, all the karmas are burned in the fire of knowledge, without exception. Iti jnanode nantarikataya mula jnanasya virodadeva nivritti sambhavat. Jnanode, as long as the light of knowledge arises, nantarikataya, without any intervention. As soon as light comes, the darkness goes away instantly. It's not that light comes and for a little while later the darkness goes. There is no antara. There is no intervention. So, nantarikataya, without any intervention, mula jnanasya virodhavat nivritti. Because darkness is completely, light is opposed to darkness. And therefore they cannot coexist. So also knowledge is opposed to ajnanam, and therefore they cannot coexist. So akartaham destroys the notion kartaham. Tada tat karya antahkaranasyapi nivrutte. That is why not only ahankara but antahkarana also is included in there. Aham pratyavat sthitam. It is in antahkaranam. Antahkarana also is the product of ignorance. So antahkaranasyapi nivrutte. When ignorance goes, then antahkaranam, which is also the product, not only ahankara is product of ignorance, antahkarana also is product of ignorance. So that also goes. Ashraya karma sthiti ayogat. When antahkarana ashraya or ahankara ashraya is not there, karma cannot remain. Kutastena moksha pradibandha shankayate aഭിpraya. You don't have to say this actually. Even if ahankara is there, antahkarana is there, they don't have to be destroyed. Only germinating capacity is destroyed. When moksha takes place, antahkarana doesn't remain. When knowledge takes place, then only ignorance goes. Ignorance is jiva sushti goes, Ishvara sushti does not go. Antahkarana is Ishvara sushti. This deha, body, mind, sense, and Ishvara sushti, therefore it doesn't go. So, ignorance can only, knowledge can remove particular ignorance. The ignorance is jiva sushti, so knowledge destroys jiva sushti. The body is not product of my ignorance, it is Ishvara sushti. So you don't have to say that antahkarana goes away. If it goes away, then you are instantly liberated, That is what they mean perhaps. I think what is meant here is that when knowledge takes place, ignorance does not remain, therefore the upadhi does not remain, therefore you are liberated. This is called, so videha kaivalyam takes place. So moksha primarily means here videha kaivalyam. The liberation from everything, including body. No bondage remains. And body, mind are all product of ignorance. When ignorance is destroyed, they are also destroyed. Therefore, he is liberated completely. Ashraya karma sthiti ayogat. So when ashraya antahkarana is not there, and aham pratyavasthitam, that aham pratyaya, ahankara or antahkaranam, that's the very seed of the root of karma, source of karma. When that is not there, karma is no more there, therefore all karma is destroyed. So that karma, kutastena moksha pratibandha shankaya devipraya. The karma itself cannot remain when the very ashaya, the very locus of karma is destroyed, that is antahkaranam or ahankara. Then karma has no standing, and that karma which has no standing cannot obstruct the moksha. This is simple explanation right now. So moksha means videhe kaivalyam. And this is where the discussion is. That there is something called Jivan Mukti also, and therefore videhe kaivalyam does not come right away. So this is the point here. Nanu tatha jnanavatopi bhikshatanadi karma safalam upalabhyate. But there is something called Jivan Mukti. If the jnanam destroys ajnanam, then the aham vritti and antahkarana, product ignorance also get destroyed because there is no purpose to serve. Then what is bhikshatanadikam? Where is Jivan Mukti then? Jnanavatopi. Then how can jnanavan be also there? Jnanavan means possessing jnanam, and that is only ahankara, enlightened ahankara. If the previous line says that antahkarana doesn't remain, then jnani, if videhi kaivalyam is only moksha, then jnani also does not remain. So accepting Jivan Mukti, we say that there is a jnani who continues to live and can you perform bhikshatanadi karma. So karma apparently is continuing. Safalam upalabhyate. When jnani performs the karma of walking, the result of walking takes place. So walking karma gives rise to phala of walk. So when you begs food, then when he eats food, then hunger is appeased. When he drinks water, then thirst is quenched. So this karma of the jnani do give rise to phala. How do you say karma will not give rise to phala? What is karma? Eating food is karma. What is the result? Appeasing hunger. What is karma? Drinking water. What's the result? Quenching of the thirst. So we see that taking place. So karma is giving rise to karma phala. How do you say that all the karma gets destroyed and cannot give rise to karma phala? We find some karma giving rise to phala. Tada tasya adrushthaphalam karma safalam syat. So whatever it is that makes it, this is called drushtaphalam, drushta karma. Bhikshatanadi is what you see, and you see the result coming. This sanchita karma you do not see, but then the rule that applies to drishta karma should also apply to drishta karma. So a wise person who is living, liberated while living, his karmas appear to give rise to phala. Then all the that rule should apply to all the karmas. So therefore, bhikshatanadi drishta karma is seen to produce result. Therefore, sanchidadi adrushta karma should also produce, because same rule should apply. Idi kalpyade. This is what we imagine. Idi shankyade. So that's the shanka that is raised there in the verse number 2. Drishtavachet prarohasyat nanya karma sa ishyade tan nirodhe katham tatsyat pruchamo vastaduchyadam. So this was in the form of question answer. Dushtavat chet prarohasya. This is Shanka. Praroha means sprouting. Dushtavat, we find that for a wise person, dushta karma of eating, drinking, walking, talking, they are giving rise to result. Therefore, the dushta karma, why not all the other karma, sanchita karma also should give rise to the result? Because karma is karma. So now in karma also you have to make a division. You have to distinguish. There is one karma that doesn't give rise to result, another karma gives rise to result. So that distinction has to be stated. For that this question is raised. So answer is na anya karma saishyate. That praroha, the result that you see for drushta karma is anya karma. It belongs to a different category of karma. So all karmas are now categorized. All karmas do not belong to the same category. Anya karma, this prarabdha karma. So drushta phala is because of prarabdha karma, and sandhi adrushta karma. Therefore, there is a different kind of karma. Therefore, the same rule does not apply to all the karmas. Tan nirode katham tat syad pruchhamo ivastaducchatam. And therefore, tan nirode, when antahkarana etc. So, the very antahkarana which is cause of the karma itself is not there. How can karma be there? That's what you say. So, here now the discussion about the prarabdha karma and jivan mukti. So, that is why this question is raised. So, Tika said, Nanu, I thought that we already know, drushtavat chet prarohasyat. So, Shanka is that just as the drushta karma of the wise person, jivan mukta, are seen to give rise to result, such as eating, drinking, etc. Also, then the sanjita karma is called drushta. They also should give rise to result. Karma being the same. Pariharti, that question is answered. Na anya karma saishyate ide. So saha, now again karma is neuter. Saha, called praroha. So praroha anya karma saishyate. Vyapara. But anyway, so na, there should be comma there. Na is answer to the doubt. Na. The doubt is not valid. Nishedartha. So that's pratigna. Drushtavajit praroha syad na drushtavat praroha na syad. Then katham, then you to give the pratigna, then hetu. Anya karma saishyate. That praroha is anya karma. Therefore, that rule doesn't apply to the adrushta karma. Naiti nishedartha. Saha bhiksharanadhi vidusha vyapara anya karma. You can call it praroha. All that vyapara which gives rise to phalam, such as the eating, drinking of the wise person. Anya karma. That's the attribute of praroraha, or here is the vyapara. So, anyatra pravrittam phalam karma karanam yasya anya karma saishyate. Anyatra means what? Pravrittam, different kind of phala karma is there. So, there is one kind of karma called the sanchita karma. Another kind of karma is what? Pravrittam phalam. So, karma is now divided into two categories. Those karmas of which the phala has not yet commenced, and those kinds of karma which the phala has commenced. So, pravrittam phalam. So, all karmas are not, they are all karmas, all right, and still not necessarily identical. There are karmas, sanchita karmas, which have not yet commenced giving rise to the result. They are still stored in my account, of which there is a small fraction called prarabdha karma. Prarabdham prakarshena arabdham. So that part of the karma which has begun or commenced to give rise to phala. Therefore, they are different. Karma is all right, but different category. What is one category? Those karmas that have not yet begun or commenced giving rise to phala. The other karma called prarabdha karma which has commenced giving rise to karma. Anyatra means pravrittam phalam or prarabdham phalam karma karanam yasya anya karma. So this praroha that you see, the vyapara that you see, is because of a different kind of karma called the pravrittam phalam or prarabdham karma. So now there is a karma which is not burned by jnana. So now you do distinguish between karma. So there is karma that is opposed to jnanam because jnanam destroys the very cause of that karma. But there is another karma of which the cause is not destroyed, not opposed to jnanam. So there are karmas opposed to jnanam, there are karmas unopposed to jnanam. Says jnana virodhi prarabdha phala karma nibandhanam hi bhikshatanadi. This bhikshatana etc. that karma of the wise person is what? Jnana avirodhi prarabdha phala. The prarabdha which is not opposed to, they coexist. Apparently we said that ignorance and knowledge do not coexist. Karma is product of ignorance, all right. But still this prarabdha karma which coexists along with jnana. Jnana avirodhitvad ityartha. So jnana avirodhi prarabdha phala karma nibandhanam hi bhikshatanadi. Bhikshatanadi is caused by the prarabdha karma which is unopposed to knowledge. So there is now a class of karma opposed to knowledge, or knowledge opposed to that karma, other class of which knowledge is not opposed. Naivam vidhi lakshanam, vidhi means sanchita only here. So but then vidhi or sanchita karma is not in that category. Tasya jnana virodhitvad ityartha. That sanchita karma is jnana virodhi, is of which jnanam is opposed to sanchita karma. Sanchita karma is, so ajnanam now is also divided into categories. Ajnanam that is destroyed by jnanam, and ajnanam that coexists with jnanam. Which is where people have problem, but then this is what it is. So, tasya jnana virodhitva. Sanchita karma is opposed to jnanam. So, sanchita karma is product of ignorance, which is destroyed by jnanam. Nanu jnanat ajnana nivritya tanmula ahankar nivritti dvarena tadashraya karma nivritto katham arabdhamavi karma siddhyet. How can there be prarabdha karma? Jnanat ajnana nivritya. You said jnanam eliminates or destroys, dispels ignorance. Jnana is like light that dispels ignorance, is like darkness. Tanmula ahankar nivritti dvarena. Tanmula means what? That ajnanam moolam yasya ahankara. When ajnanam is destroyed, ajnanam which is cause of ahankara also gets destroyed. Ahankara nivritti dvarena. So ajnanam is moola of ahankara and ahankara is moola of karma. Ajnana is the cause of ahankara, ahankara is cause of karma. So the rule must apply everywhere. By knowledge, the ignorance is destroyed. Ignorance gives rise to ahankara. That gives rise to karma. So cause of karma is destroyed by knowledge. Tadashraya karma nivritto. So ahankara nivritti dvarena. By elimination of ahankara, which is ashraya of karma, the ashraya, the very locus of karma is destroyed. Katham arabdham, therefore how can there be something called prarabdha karma? Karma is karma. Karma is its root in ahankara. Ahankara is source in ajnanam. Ajnanam is like darkness, dispelled by knowledge which is comparable to light. So how can it be that when you switch on the light, some darkness remains? How can it be? Light destroys all the darkness. So some darkness remains, how can it be? If darkness is the cause of something, that something also should go away. So darkness or ignorance causes ajnanam, that causes karma. So how do you categorize prarabdha karma? Is karma is karma. Katham arabdhamavi karma siddhyet. So how can you justify a karma called prarabdha karma? Yan nimitta vidusha bhikshadanadi karma pravritti. Yan nimitta, and that karma which you claim, prarabdha karma, which is what brings about the drishta karma of bhikshatanadi. How can that be? When all karma is destroyed, how can some karma remain and which can give rise to the Jivan Mukti and Bhikshatanadi, etc.? Iti pruchadi purvavadi. Therefore, the Purva Pakshi asks in second line, Tan nirode katam tatsyat pruchhamo vastaduchyata. Tan nirode. What is karma ashraya? What is tat? Tat nirode. तो टीका से कर्माश्रय प्रथम तत् शब्दार्थ है कर्माश्रय निरोधे. What is कर्माश्रय? अंतःकरणम और अहंकार है, which is product of ignorance. So by knowledge that all goes away. Therefore, antahkarana is not there, ahankara is not there, which is the very locus of karma. So how can karma be there? Katham tat syad. Katham. So karma dvitiya tat shabda. Second tat is karma. So ahankara nirode katham karma syad. That's what it means. First tat shabda is what? Karmashaya. So antahkarana nirode. Ahankara nirode katham karma syad. To shorten it is a tat nirode katham tat syad. Iti pruchhamaha. So that's what we are asking you. Vah putra, to you we are asking, Uchyatam, may you please explain. So, this is all for discussion of the Jivan Mukti or Prarabdha Karma. We will continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.